Taurus, a great big welcome to you. This is your tarot reading for April, coming from the mountains of Java. And Taurus, I sincerely hope you get something from it. And if you do, Taurus, if you could help me out a little by hitting the like button, passing a comment and subscribing, you'll help me with these algorithms that I'm struggling incredibly with, have been since November, when they seem to have changed the basis on which they're calculated. But Taurus, this is about you, so heartfelt, I really hope you get something out of this reading. You may well be asking, why from Java? What's important about tarot from Java? And the truth is, there is nothing so important about tarot from Java. Simply that here in Java we have many different spirits who will come to help in your tarot reading. It'll probably put a different reflection on things. For example, the spirits here are less likely to be concerned about love and finances, despite people in Java being every bit as interested in these things as the rest of us. But maybe the spirits are trying to tell us something else. Now I'll be using probably 2 decks, but out of 3 decks. So the first deck is Tarot Nusantara, the second deck is the Steampunk deck, and the third deck is the Light Visions Tarot. Tarot Nusantara is actually a new one to me, which I love, whereas the Light Visions I've struggled with as a result of the rendering. Although I think I'll grow into it, I will keep using it and coming back to it. You can see on all of them I'm using quite a lot of salt, and that's to clear the energy and the spirits from them, something that I do fairly regularly with my tarot. And I also, you'll see a number of Jimat there that I use just to bring a good energy to the tarot and to my reading. Perhaps the most important mystical object we use in Java is the kris, the curly knife that you can see that I've placed across both decks. Kris are very important for bringing the spirits to work on any object here in Java. Call on the spirits of the mountain to assist me in shuffling the cards, in selecting the right cards, and interpret them for Taurus for April 2022. Taurus, everybody's reading for April's been quite interesting, and yours is no exception. There's some things going on in April that I've got to say right now I don't fully understand what's behind them. But we will find out. If you look at that middle card, Ten of Wands, card of burden, maybe feel like you're carrying the burdens of the world on your shoulder. But you do know that the journey's nearly over. Recent past, we have the Death card, an abrupt and probably a painful ending. And I was going to say it looks like you've gotten over it, but there's other cards that say maybe you've not. But certainly now we have the Six of Wands, scoring some victories and public recognition for those victories. But your future energy, we have the Nine of Swords. Can't sleep at night for worry about something. I don't know what you're worried about, but I guess it must be related to the Death card. The card impacting on the outcome is the Four of Swords. You needing to take a rest and recuperation. The card that would positive or change the outcome is the Page of Cups. Could be going out of search of something creative. I've got this inkling it's about love. And the card, the outcome is the Two of Swords. You've been stymied, you've been unable to take a decision because both directions seem equally plausible to you. Remember, we've got that 10 of wands running throughout it. Burden, but you're nearing an end. So, I don't think April's a great month for you. I think previously was even worse. I don't think April's a great month for you. But it's going to give way to something much better. That's my candid feeling. Let's look at each card for you though, Taurus. Taurus, the energy running through all this is the 10 of wands. Now it is carrying an extra burden. It might even be a bit of a struggle. You might feel like you're carrying the worries of the world on your shoulder. Now you look at the card, to my mind, he's not sort of bound those wands in the right way. And so he's struggling to carry them, but maybe there could be a better way of carrying them. The ground doesn't look that even, so it's a bit difficult. You're feeling it. But his home is just in the distance. He can see it. He's nearly there. And you know you're nearly there. So this is the energy that runs through everything. I think the main thing we should get from this is that you're nearly there. You're nearly at the end of a cycle, and I think that's how we should interpret things. In recent past, we have the Death card. It's an abrupt and probably a painful ending to something. We don't know what it is, although looking at the other cards, I believe it's the end of a relationship. But it could be quite honestly anything. You'll know, Taurus, you'll know. And I used to think, looking at this rendering, there was nothing nice about it, you know. There's Death riding with his scythe, cutting people down. But you look, there's that old man standing up to him. And there's a Hindu temple up on the hill. It's as though there is hope. It's as though there is hope. And of course, following death, there is rebirth. So, and we've got the 10 of wands, which says you've nearly reached an end. I don't think you've experienced that real rebirth yet. I think you're somewhat treading water in April, but you will experience it. And you see, now we have, this is your current energy, we have the 6 of wands. This is you scoring a victory. Now, it's a battle, if you like. You've not run the war, but you've scored a victory and you've got some public recognition. And now, if the death was, say, an end of a relationship, it could be that mutual friends are somewhat siding with you. It could be something like that. But it's something to give you hope, I feel. It's certainly a victory of sorts. You look, I mean, they're riding through the streets, their heads held up high, and your head is held up high. Yeah. Despite, of course, we come back to the 10 of wands, carrying an extra burden. Maybe if it was the end of the relationship, there are more things you have to do that you used to share. Maybe you had a family and now you're bringing up the family. And, you know, it could be a bit of a struggle for you. It could be. And Taurus, we now have the 9 of swords. You're clearly, now, this is the future. You're clearly worried about something. Something is keeping you awake at night with worry. Now, maybe I was spot on about this, you know, you were in a relationship, you had a family and you're bringing up the family. Or maybe this is just you saying, God, how am I going to cope with this? Or how am I going to pay the mortgage? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Because we know, I've got no longer somebody to share it with. And of course, the 10 of wands is about extra burden. So, you know, if you had a joint mortgage with someone, or even just paying the rent, now it's just you, and you are concerned, you're being kept awake at night. You look at the card, you know, sitting up awake at night with worry. Yeah. Remember, the 10 of wands is that it will end, so there is hope. Taurus, I think I'm getting this right because you're now tired. You know, if you're carrying this extra burden, you're finding it a bit of a struggle. I mean, we don't have the Queen of Pentacles here, which would really tell me that it's about this family that you're now having to care for. So, I mean, it could be just paying the rent, you know, but you're struggling, you're working hard. You're probably something of an emotional wreck, you know, and that takes it out of you. Worry doesn't half take it out of you. And you need a rest, you need time to recuperate. And that's what this Four of Swords is. Now you look at it, it's a knight who's come back from battle, a sword below him and three swords above his head. Yes, this rendering is a sarcophagi, and some people do say this is about death. I don't think it's that for 1 minute. But yeah, do you know, I grew up in a village in rural Shropshire that had a Norman church, and it was full of tombs like this, and it used to frighten me to death. And even more so, the graveyard had graves a bit like this. And as a teenager, we used to run around the graveyard by ourselves, dare each other to do it. It used to take about 3 or 4 minutes to do a complete cycle. And I've never run so fast in all my life. I was so frightened by it. And of course, we have had the Nine of Swords, that fright. So were you like me, frightened of, well, maybe it wasn't nothing, but in my experience, even if you do meet a ghost, it's nothing to be frightened of. Yeah, you've got yourself in a bit of a tiz, haven't you? And the energy that would change the outcome is the Page of Cups. Now, this is you going off in search of something nice, something creative. Maybe love, maybe a new love. Yeah, you look at him. He's on the seashore. It's rather nice, you know. He's up for it, isn't he? He's on a journey, and he's got that cup with a fish popping out of it, which says to me that he's up for anything. You know, he's willing to consider everything. And remember, this changes the outcome. I think this is saying to you, forget about the old love and find a new one. I think that's what it's telling us, but I can't be certain yet. The outcome is the Two of Swords. This is you being stymied, unable to take a decision. Now remember that the energy that would lead to this is you taking a rest. Whereas the energy that would change it is you going out in search for something, probably love. So what I think it is if you do nothing, you're going to be left with a difficult decision. Whereas if you do something, you won't have to take this difficult decision. You look at the card on the seashore. It's in a throne. I mean, she's dressed rather nicely, but she's blindfolded. And the moon's out, so you don't have the full information. Indeed, that could be fear, and of course we've had the Nine of Swords, which does suggest you're fearful. You're taking a decision under the duress of fear, and as I say, he's blindfolded, no, she's blindfolded. Got a sword in each hand, but they look identical, so you just can't choose, you're stymied. Sometimes when this happens, you know, it's better to just take a decision. You could even use these pendulums readings that I put on my channel to help you make that decision. You could do that, yeah. I think we need some clarity, and I think we need some clarity on this card. I think clarity on this Two of Swords. And the first card of clarity is the Ten of Cups, so this would suggest to me that it is a decision about love, families. The next card is the High Priestess, the card of intuition. And the final card is the Six of Cups, reminiscing about the past, perhaps a former sweetheart. Very interesting. I think I know what's going on. So the first card of clarity is the Ten of Cups. This is many blessings, affluence, love, happiness. And remember, it's confirming the Two of Swords, important decision. So you've got a decision to make about love. Now, I think this is the past love. And so I think I'm right. You were in a very strong relationship. Maybe you were married to somebody. And I think they come back. I think they come back and you have a decision to make. Do you take them back? Because you've been wallowing in, how do I do this? How do I do that? You've been worried. And it seems like a perfect solution. It feels like a perfect solution. And you look at the card, well, they couldn't be more in love. They're holding hands on that bench. It looks like they're really blessed. So it feels like this is the right thing to do. It might feel like the right thing to do. That's your head telling you that, because going back to how you were would solve so many of the problems that you perceive you've got now. But we have the High Priestess, which is saying, trust your intuition. It's saying to me that your head is telling you, go back to this partner, whereas there's some doubt in your subconscious saying, no, don't. And I think this doubt is a very, very valid doubt. So that's why you can't make the decision, because your head is going one way and your subconscious is going another way. Yeah. Your subconscious is telling you there was something wrong with that relationship, and going back to it will only resurrect what was wrong with it. Yeah, it might solve your immediate problems, but long term it's just getting you into more problems. Final card is the Six of Cups. So this is definitely you reminiscing about the past, looking to the past, and I think it is looking to your past love. And yeah, I think they come back and there's the opportunity to resurrect the relationship. Now, the ending doesn't tell us if you do this or not. Although to have got two cards that are sort of positive towards it and one that I'd say is negative towards it, I think in all likelihood you do it, and it's the wrong thing to be doing. I think this is a warning from the universe saying don't do it. You look at the card, he's handing the flowers to his sweetheart, isn't he? So this rendering does suggest an old love. Now, it's clearly a pit village or a pit town, isn't it? But you know, if you've grown up in somewhere like that, you don't notice how grim it is. But it is pretty grim. There's tenements there. Now, the only place I've ever seen with tenements and coal mines is Silesia. I'm willing to believe there's parts of Scotland, although I don't know anywhere in Ayrshire that's like that. But I'm willing to believe that they do exist in the UK, but I've never seen them. Though Silesia in Poland is the closest I've ever seen to it. But he's unaware of it because he's in love. Oh, of course, he's unaware of the problems of that relationship. He's unaware of his surroundings. He's unaware of what's going on around him. It's another big warning, isn't it? It's another big warning for you, Taurus. Going back to them is the wrong move. Yes, it is. And that's why that Page of Cups was shouting out to you, find a different love, find a new love. Now, I thought that this decision was between two loves, and it's not. It's between taking the old one back and not doing something. Yeah, but if you don't take a rest and do go out looking for a new love, things could change much better. Well, we can summarise for you, Taurus. Taurus, in the past, something ended. It was quite bitter. It was very upsetting. And I believe it was a relationship. And I believe it was more than just a relationship. You may have been married. Very, very close relationship. There may have been children. Or it may simply be that you shared a lot of things. So maybe you shared a mortgage, maybe you shared the rent, but there were a lot of things that you shared, and the ending of this relationship has made that things are a bit of a struggle for you now, a struggle to keep going. But I think you do score some victories, and people recognise that. I think a lot of your old friends have sided with you. But you're finding it difficult, and you're laying awake at night thinking, oh, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Because it's not easy. It's not easy. The universe wants you to know that an end is in sight, but you can't see that. And the most logical ending for you is if you could get back together with this old partner. And indeed, I mean, you'll be tired. You'll be tired of worrying. You'll be tired of going through your head, what on earth has happened? You'll be tired of just struggling to make ends meet. And you want to take a rest. And what's going to happen is this person is going to come back. So you're going to have this difficult decision of, do I take them back or do I remain single? And I think if you did take the rest, and I'm going to come what you might have done rather than take a rest in a moment, but if you did take a rest, then I think you will get back with them, even though it'll cause you great anguish. And the universe is shouting out to you, no, it's the wrong thing to do. Your head's telling you it's the right thing to do. Your head's telling you, well, it would solve this, it would solve that. But your subconscious is shouting out, no, there's something wrong. And that something wrong is that you don't even spot it. You don't even know what it is that's wrong, because you're so focused on the relationship, you can't see what's going on around you. Now, of course, it's possible they were a narcissist. I mean, all sorts of things are possible. I honestly don't know. But there was something wrong about this relationship, and you were largely unaware of it. And what would change things, but I don't think you do it, is the universe is shouting out to you, go and look for another love. So instead of resting, go on out and look for another love, and everything will change. Now, I think the good thing is, even though I believe that you have this decision to make and you probably do take them back, I think it will end again quickly, and things will change and things will get better for you, Taurus. But yeah, I can't say that April's happy. But I think after April, things will clear up considerably and you'll feel much better, Taurus. Well, I do hope you've enjoyed Tarot from Java as an addition to my channel, The Magic of Java. Please take a look at the other videos that I have on this channel about magic from Java, and I hope that you will become a subscriber. Now, if you want to hear your next tarot reading, hit the button, and that will inform you of when I publish new readings. I'm certainly going to do a reading for every month, but maybe I will try them a bit more frequently, say a mid-month reading, and maybe also some special readings. But above all, thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you, and enjoy Java.